What I understood about Hibernate was that Hibernate would help you work with database. So instead of you working with the database from MySQL, or you would um, you will be able to do all the modifications you would do there through the Java program. So you will be able to create fields, delete fields, or update fields, query data from the database. So you could do all of that through your program in Java using Hibernate. And what I did to uh, set the Hibernate environment in my Eclipse was I download all the jar files that you need. You will create a library in your source folder in your project, and you will create a path. Create the path to that folder, so you could recall that those files as you use Hibernate. And then after that, I created like the database in MySQL. Um, and then you will need to create a config file. That is this one right here, where the config file, what it has is contains all the information from your database, like the URL, the user, and the password you need to access the database. So that's what it contains, the config file. And you will read this file through the section factory that you will create in your mapping class, like the class where you create all the entities, because to use Hibernate, you will use entities and annotations that are created when you add the add symbol before the name, and then you would, all these like column ID, it would map one column from the database with the one you are creating in the Hibernate section. And so yeah, you create these, and then when you are working in your normal classes where you are creating like how to add um, objects to the database, you will create a section factory that here, that is the one that is going to read the config file, and the class where you have all the mapping thing, and then that's what will make kind of the magic, I guess, that it will read everything you need. And here, well, I have the example of how I added the elements. The other thing that they explain is like the section factory, you just need to create it once in the project and you can reuse it every time. But then you have the session method that I think it's something you have to create every time you are like creating an object or deleting an object, or like everything you do, you have to create a session that would save that object momentarily before you commit it to the database, and then it will be updated or save it. That is this commit transition here. So you start the session here, and this, what it does is that it saves the object in that, like that session that you would create, and once you commit it, then that session is deleted, like, and you will need to start a new one. So I think that's kind of the difference between a session and session factory. But the session factory, you create it just once and you can reuse it, and the session is something that you have to create every time, and it will be, yeah. And once, yeah, you finish the step, yeah, it's done, and you need to create a new one. And I think that's kind of the structure for everything, because like when you're going to delete or do query, like you would do the same. You start with that um, uh, you will always use this the commit the commit transaction, like the commit session, and the, where's the other one? Yeah, and you will use you create a session. So yeah, it's kind of the same. You create the session, you start a transaction, it does all the work, and then you commit the transaction, and it's done. And I think that process is, yeah, you repeat it again and again. So that's it. I don't know. Like, do you have any specific question or something, like, yeah, because.
No, that was very good. Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.